I'm at our family farm today. Really just want to show off a couple projects that we did. One was a cedar thicket clearing that we did 2 years ago, and they're all in the same area. So that's on the east side of the field, and on the west side of the field was a cedar thicket we cleared about 7-8 months ago, like half a year, this winter pretty much. Just gonna kind of show you a side-by-side comparison of what a cedar thicket looks like before and then after. And I think you'll be pretty shocked at what kind of habitat you can produce with just a chainsaw and some good old back-breaking labor. So. All right, so just for reference, this is a part of a cedar thicket we still have on our farm. So I just want to show you like what it looks like before and then after. You might think, oh man, that looks like nice thick timber in there. All those cedars in there, you can hardly see anything, but let's get down where like a deer would be. You get down on the ground level and there's hardly any protection from coyotes, any other predators. There's really nothing to hide in unless you butt up against one of those trees, but you're still pretty exposed. And if you look at the ground, there's hardly any growth in here. You know, there's a few sprouts here and there, but there's really not a whole lot of foods available for the deer in here. Now, compare what you just saw to this. Now, as you can see, this is a wide open area, and I'm 6 foot tall, and this stuff is about up to my hip to waist level. I can hardly, look at this, I can hardly walk through here. Even though it looks way wide open like this, and you'd be like, well, there's not a whole lot of safety for the deer. Let's get down at a deer's level. Look at all the cover they have around them. There's cover in all directions. Yes, deer probably still use cedar thickets if that's what they have available. But if you have the opportunity and you have property and you have cedar thickets like we do in the Ozarks, if you have, just get a chainsaw. And if you do the work, you're actually creating better habitat for them. Yes, they might be using the cedar thicket, but this is much better habitat for them. There's flowers in here. This is good for pollinators. There's all kinds of diversity. It looks like some native clovers. There's some ragweed. I'm not a biologist or a plant ID kind of guy, but I know that this is a lot more beneficial for the deer than that monoculture of just that cedar thicket. This was done 2 years ago and burned 2 years ago as well. And look at the explosion of growth in just 2 years. Now I'm gonna take you over to the other side of this field. This is about, a half a year's worth of growth. We cut this down this winter and it's just now July. But I mean, shoot, some of these plants are already waist high. This was all just cedars and mixed hickory trees and stuff like that. But even, a lot of it's still pretty ankle to calf high. But even, you can get up here in some of this ragweed and get down to a deer's level like this. They could be bedded right here. They've got plenty of food with the ragweed around them. They're covered with the wind at their back, and they can just sit here and watch the field, which is just right over there. They could stand up and examine the field if there's any threats. Lay back down. There's timber that's been TSI'd all through here that they can escape through. There's white oaks in there. There's food that way. This one was a little bit more daunting because it was a much bigger project. There was a total of 8 acres that we actually cut down in here. It's not all just right here. It goes up a little bit that way. But I mean, 7-8 months worth of growing, and look what it's already become. I mean, this is a food plot right here in and of itself. All this ragweed, they eat that. There's all kinds of stuff in here. There's flowers growing. None of this stuff on this side of the field or the other side of the field. We've never had grasses and forbs and stuff like that growing in here, never. But we removed the trees that were blocking out the sunlight. And once we did that, the sunlight hits the floor and there's a native seed bed that's laying in the dirt. And once it gets sun, it's gonna grow. So that's what's happened here. Now I'm gonna take you down into this field and show you some other things we did to this particular area. All right, so I'm standing on the west border of this field, and the west border is this creek right here. So we've got a little riparian zone, and I'm about to fall on this rock. The edges of the fields, you can create an edge, which basically allows the deer to feel way more protected being in the field during daylight hours. There used to just be timber lined along the field edge, and there was really nothing growing. So we've just about cut all the trees off that side of the field, and now you can see, I mean, look at that grass in there. This stuff is just as thick as the areas that we cut down in the cedar thicket. I mean, this thing's belly button high. This thing's almost head high on me. So there's a lot of protection in here, and these edges make it so that when a deer comes into the field, this is like a fence for them, so they feel safe in here. They feel protected coming into this field. As we actually get into the field, we did another barrier. This is Sudan grass. And look how tall this sits. I can't even touch the top. Probably 8 foot tall, but this is another barrier. So we kind of doubled the barriers into this field, and what we actually planted in this field is like a diversity mix of clovers, soybeans, millet, all kinds of stuff in here. Some type of winter peas, there's corn in here, but there's just a diversity in this field, and it's all really tall stuff. So a deer's gonna feel really, really safe being in this food plot during the daylight hours. Hope that was somewhat helpful, and you know, if you have the ability to do this kind of stuff on a piece of property, it's gonna definitely increase, I think, seeing deer during daylight hours. So thanks for watching.